Chelsea O'Brien. I'm the founder and executive director of the Clarkston Family Farm, and I am here with some really awesome people. This is our Camp Wild crew. 1, 2, 3, dig it. 1, 2, 3, dig it. And we just finished one of our really fun days called Marvelous Meadow, and the kids were super jazzed because they got to meet a special volunteer who I've known since I first started the farm. This is Debbie Jackson. The kids call her Miss Flutters, and she brings us monarch butterfly caterpillars, and she also has been integral to putting on, this will be our 6th year now, our 6th Monarch Butterfly Festival. And everybody that comes to our festival has lots and lots of questions about this special insect that has captured all of our hearts. So we thought we would have some fun with doing an informational video for you, and this is that you need to know about the monarch butterfly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually step aside and kind of turn it over to Miss Debbie, and she's going to have some help from our Camp Wild crew. So the number one thing you need to know about monarch butterflies is that they need, drum roll please, milkweed. Milkweed. Without milkweed, we don't have this butterfly. So let's start with that, Miss Flutters.
This is milkweed. This is common milkweed. There are many different types of milkweed in Michigan, but this is the one very easily identified. These big pink fluffy flowers that smell delicious. And one way to tell milkweed is when you break the stem and you can see the sap is white like milk. It's distasteful. It tastes terrible. Therefore, the caterpillars taste terrible, and very little things eat them. Birds don't eat them, frogs don't eat them. However, other bugs can eat them because bugs don't have taste buds. So sometimes spiders or ants will eat the caterpillars. But the very best thing for raising a caterpillar is fresh milkweed. If you don't have it in your home, but you can find it, you can cut a stem, put it in a jug of water, and it will stay fresh. Or take the leaves, if you soak them in water for 5 minutes, let them air dry, and then put them in a Ziploc bag, a little bit damp, in the refrigerator. They can last up to 2 to 3 weeks in the refrigerator if they're rinsed, which is just wonderful. Common milkweed is this one. Swamp milkweed is a delicate milkweed. It likes wet places. Its roots tolerate rivers and ponds and ditches. And then there's butterfly milkweed. And right now, butterfly milkweed is the orange milkweed you'll see on the side of the roads that's blooming, and it's orange. There's 2 orange flowers right now in July blooming. One's a daylily, which is really easy to see and differentiate from the butterfly milkweed, which has a flower just like the swamp milkweed and the common milkweed. It's orange, bright orange. Those are all host plants that you can find. The caterpillars prefer this. This is their #1 favorite, and it's the easiest to find. So I would just recommend using this one.
All right. So Debbie, swing on back over here. So that is our first thing that's important, is plant milkweed, find milkweed. At the Clarkston Family Farm, we have a monarch meadow. Kids, can you point to where it is? Very good. So right now we are videotaping right outside our Giving Tree Orchard. You can't miss the Giving Tree Orchard. It's right next to the very beginning. Thank you for videotaping that. Really, really easy to find. If you are to follow the road over, can you guys point again to the, what is it called? Monarch Meadow. It is right around through our outdoor cooking lab. You'll see our big healing hoop house. And then there's a pathway, and to the left we have this huge meadow, and it is filled with milkweed, which is why we call it the Monarch Meadow. Exactly. So that's thing #1. You can come and harvest milkweed anytime, you guys. Even if we're not open, we do not mind if you go and collect your milkweed. Miss Flutters told you how to store it. You can store it just like you would any other vegetable, okay? You can just put it in a zippy, put it in the fridge. You do want to rinse it off, though, because you don't want any spiders on our milkweed. All right, thing #2 that you need to know about your monarch butterfly and your caterpillars is probably their house. Can we talk about their
Yes,
house?
we can.
All right, let's talk about house.
There are so many options for, if you find a caterpillar or you get one here, we provide houses for them. But you could also find one when you're in the meadow. When you're getting milkweed, you may find a little caterpillar. A little caterpillars work just fine in a small container like this with fresh milkweed every day. But I would recommend closing the container because they're escape artists. And even though this seals off the air, they're such small creatures, they don't need that much air, and there's plenty of air to breathe. A little container like this, do you recognize this from KFC? Here's a sandwich bin, and it has little babies in it. Tiny 3-day-old caterpillars. Little guys, you can see how tiny. They're only 1/8 of an inch long. They're eating that little swamp milkweed leaf. When they get bigger, they need a bigger habitat. You do not need to purchase, even though this is wonderful, a big habitat like this for your caterpillars to be in. And I would suggest a situation like this. This is just a drink cup from the fast food place. I stabilize it because it's very tippy like this. And if I stabilize it in the coffee mug, that keeps it from tipping over so much. You can purchase these, they're wonderful, and I do have many, I love them. However, simplify, recycle your pastry bin. Here is a milkweed in a florist tube. By using a florist tube, the milkweed stays nice and fresh and hydrated. Look at how crispy this is. And I put this in 2 days ago. There are caterpillars in here. See the little guys? They're about 5 days old. So here is reusing your recyclables. You can use a florist tube, you can use a pill bottle. If you have an opening though, like on a pill bottle, you want to wrap cellophane or something around the tip because caterpillars don't swim. Yes. If they fall in the water, they will be gone and you won't have the butterfly.
So Tyler, take a minute here, zoom over here. So we had all of this fresh milkweed. Look at that big boy right there.
Oh,
how old do you think he is? 14 days?
Oh yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
so that's about how long.
Did you pick that?
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Oh my gosh,
so,
it's wild.
Yeah, so about 14 days is
he's-
how long it will take for them to get to be really big before they go into their J. But notice, this is not appropriate. Do you see how we have this big thing of water? They would drown in this water.
And he would want to do walkabout. He would want to leave the plant to find a quiet place to pupate and hang. Like this one he had a quiet place inside my habitat. Sadly, in transport, he fell down, so I pinned him to the leaf. But they will want to hide when they're pupating. They will want to hide. And the cool thing is when they are transforming into the chrysalis, the skin breaks and inside is the chrysalis skin. Here's the chrysalis. Look at the camouflage. Look at how the color mimics the back of the milkweed leaf. Isn't that they can't run. They can't protect themselves. All they can do is hide. So that's what they do. But he's going to want to leave that milkweed leaf and do walkabout. You have another small caterpillar.
I am.
Oh my gosh.
Aren't they awesome?
So you'll find caterpillars in the milkweed meadow. There's 2 right here that were just picked.
All right, so just to recap, thing number 1 is milkweed. Thing number 2 is their habitat, their home. Thing number 3, I want to talk about time. Let's talk about time, baby. How long is it going to take for these little eggs to become that J that you're talking about? I heard 14 days.
Approximately. It does depend on temperature. If you bring them in the house where your air conditioning is at 68 or 70, you're going to lower their metabolism. It will take longer, maybe 16, 17 days. I like to keep mine outdoors so they have as natural heat. They grow faster at 80 degrees than they do at 70. And that gets them flying and growing faster.
All right, so let's talk time. This is our number 3 fact. And when we're talking about time, that 14 days, they're munching almost every day, which means they're pooping almost every day. Camp crew, what do we call caterpillar poop?
Frass.
Where do we put the caterpillar frass?
In the grass.
So let's say that together. Put the frass in the grass. So every day, could you use maybe one of our volunteers here to show how we empty the frass?
Well, we can. Yeah, there's a little frass in this bin. There is, you can come in and focus a little bit. You see the pieces down in there? Yeah, that's frass. That's caterpillar waste. And all I do is turn it and dump it into the grass. That's it. It's just plant material. It's going to fertilize your grass and be fine. You can put it in the garbage if you wish, but I like to recycle and compost as much as possible because I'm a naturalist.
Okay, zoom over here. So we've got 3 things. Let's move on to 4. Everybody gets really excited when it goes into the J. Can you guys show what it looks like? We always tell our campers, look for the J. Hook your finger like this. At about 14 days, that really big fat caterpillar is going to, you say, take a walk about. And it likes to go and attach itself usually to that tool on the top or some kind of, talk about that J.
Yes.
And what happens during that metamorphosis.
Well, the change of splitting the skin into the chrysalis is actually its 5th molt. The caterpillar skin do not grow. Just like a snake, they have to walk out of the old skin and have a new skin where they can grow. That day that they are molting and separating the skin from the old skin to walking out of it, they get hungry. And when they come out of that old skin and have freshly molted, their filaments in front are bent over a little bit. You may not notice that, but they will just devour everything within sight. We have one molting right now in here. He is, you have to come in pretty close, I think. If you can bring it right inside. Look at the head of this. See that little black tip on the head, on the little front where my thumb is? That is actually the skin of the eyeballs of the old caterpillar skin. When you see a little black nose on the caterpillar, it's molting. It's not going to eat. Another thing, notice this guy is doing the classic head down. When he's leaving that caterpillar skin, gravity helps him walk down. I finally figured out that they are smarter than me. They walk out of their skin. One more thing they have done is that when they walk around, he has attached silk to the surface. You'll see like a little mat of silk in a clear container like this, and you can see like a sheen of white. His skin, his feet on his old skin are attached to that silk. And when he walks out of the old skin, it's tethered, it's anchored. Like when you have a tight sweater on and you hold the sleeve and you pull it out, well, his skin is tethered to the container, the surface he's on. So disturbing them when they molt is not a good thing. The skin can break into pieces and girdle them, and then with a tight belt around their belly, they won't survive. So it's best to leave them alone if they're molting. The 5th molt.
May I talk about the leave them alone for a minute?
Yes, yes.
So Miss Delaney has a little leaf because we noticed that there is a caterpillar on your sleeve, which they must just love you. And this brings me to something during our 4, we're thinking about that metamorphosis, that molting. You guys all know, do the kids love picking the caterpillars up?
Yes.
Oh, yes. If you handle your caterpillars too much, that might be harmful to them. Can you pick them up? Yes, you can. But how are we going to do this carefully? Delaney, might you and Miss Flutters show how you can move a caterpillar carefully? This is important because you can handle them, but not too much.
It's also important, before you touch a caterpillar, I think it's my belief that you should use soap and water to wash your hands to remove any residues. Petting your pets, cats and dogs that have flea and tick medication in their fur. I have a dog. I put flea and tick medication on my dog's skin that transfers to their fur. That pesticide, when you touch your pet and you touch a caterpillar, you transfer it. And that small application of pesticide often kills them during the transformation in the J. The skin will not split entirely, and it'll be a partial split of the skin, and they'll fail and pass away.
All right, so we know we have to wash our hands.
Wash our hands.
So I want to make sure that we get to thing number 5, and the thing number 5 is the big reveal, right? So they're going into their J. They're going to stay in that chrysalis for how long? 10 days. For about 10 days. And then they're going to emerge. Now, when we first did this, you guys have done this before, and they do the wiggle, 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 and they're ready to emerge from their chrysalis, something happens that freaks out a lot of people. Do you know what this is? Do you know what this is? Looks like a little bit of blood, but it's not.
No.
Talk about what happens when they emerge, and the emerging is the 5th one that we want to make sure you guys understand about, because once they emerge from their chrysalis, please do not keep that butterfly in your habitat. It has to go into a garden because it is hungry and it needs nectar. So you need the nectar flowers. But I want you to talk about that little residue that looks like blood. It's not, and it's normal. Please talk about that. Everybody else.
Absolutely. That's a great point, and I forgot about that. So this is not a butterfly habitat. This is a caterpillar habitat. But your butterfly's wings will need 2 to 3 wings to dry. And when they're hanging down, gravity's pulling the wings down, that butterfly has a little bit of caterpillar food in its abdomen. And it will expel meconium. Do you remember that word from when you had a baby in the hospital, meconium? It's caterpillar liquid. It's like a little diarrhea. It's reddish brown. It's normal. You absolutely want meconium, because I've had a few butterflies not release the meconium. Means their digestive system is not complete and they die within a day or 2. So you want to see a brownish red fluid at the bottom. You'll know that they are completely healthy, and release them. Open the lid up, set them free. If they're sitting on the screen, wonderful. If not, you can just leave the container open. Most of the butterflies will be ready to fly after 3 to 5 hours. It does depend on humidity. If it's humid, it does take them longer to dry. If it's a nice cool day like today and sunny, they'll be ready in 2 to 3 hours to fly. And set them free so that they can make babies, or if it's August, head to Mexico to migrate.
I love it. So we've got our 5 things, friends. I hope you can join us at the Monarch Butterfly Festival. If not, we do have these caterpillar kits available in our market any Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And I think we'll end with 1, 2, 3, dig it. Yeah? All right, 1, 2, 3,
Dig it!